All right. Well, my face and eyes are all puffy, and I'm gonna have to make this short because I'm gonna have to go take a shower. But it's worth it for petting a tat. Say hello, tat. Tat. Um. So anyway, I wanted to address this idea people are going to keep saying, oh, what you're saying is too abstract. No, the problem is your cognitive schema, the frameworks, the metaphors, your cognitive schema of how you think of spirituality and what it must mean. That's what's confused and abstract, okay? Not what I'm presenting. You could fault me for using this word that you think you know what it means, but I think it's kind of stupid that you think you know what it means when you don't believe in it. This is a way of getting it tangible. So let me back up and see if you can understand the tangibility. And if not, I really think that you just have, a mental block. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to ask the questions. Look, would you agree that people sometimes have experiences they call spiritual? Do they have these experiences, right? Just like people have experiences that they call seeing a UFO, right? Now, to analyze those experiences and find out, well, what is this, UFO sighting experience? You would look at those experiences and you would statistically analyze them. And people would say, well, I saw a light. So you could go out and look for similar lights, right? Now, I think in the case of UFOs, there's a lot of causes. People see things and misidentify them, right? People hallucinate, and possibly there's UFOs would be one of the things. I tend to go with the UFO sightings that I know of are hallucinations and misidentifications. That's what I think. In the case of spiritual experiences, it's not that you see a particular thing. They can happen anytime. They can happen at a family dinner. They could happen, on a road trip. They could happen when you're considering what to do with your life. They can happen when a loved one passes. They can happen at all sorts of times. So to analyze those spiritual experiences, you can take them and look at all of them and try to deduce what's going on. But you're not going to say, oh, well, people, saw a light in the sky. No, what characterizes the spiritual experience is a feeling that people have. They have a feeling, and suddenly that experience has a spiritual significance for them. That's what they call it. So this is there. You can't get any more tangible than that when you're talking about human experience. That's how we analyze our experiences. Some of those experiences, like experiences of color and light and the space that correlate them, come down to things that we've learned how to measure by rulers that we see. We measure them to distances that we can see, right? Colors we can see in a crayon, we compare that to the colors we can see in real life. Okay, well, I believe that there's this spiritual feeling. Now, you can say, no, there isn't really such a feeling. People are misidentifying other feelings. Fine. What other feelings? Why? That question is it's as tangible as you can get. All right, and it's a way to approach the question empirically. Now, if you're afraid or you think that the question itself poses a threat to you, then then you're afraid of this cognitive schema that tells you already know what spirituality is so well that you don't even actually have to know anything about it or have anything to say about it. My take is if you know it that well, it's an illusion, then tell me where the illusion comes from in the same way that I just mentioned where I think UFO sighting illusions come from. Right? I want to know what that feeling is because I think it's the feeling that characterizes the experience. Because you can have these experiences in all kinds of different situations about all kinds of things, and they seem to have a significance to your life. That's something that usually makes it seem like a spiritual experience is this feeling of significance that the moment had significance. It can to look at it and describe it, it could sound like an insignificant or an experience that ought to be insignificant or ordinary, but it has the significance for you all of a sudden. So maybe it's just the feeling of significance when the brain goes significance. That feels significant, you know. Fine. Say that, but you're gonna just pretend it's too abstract for you. You're being too vague. I'm not being vague. I'm being fucking tangible as hell, and it provides an empirical way to study this experience, just like you can empirically study anything that people experience in a recurrent way. A lot of people report UFO sightings. They speculate that that means that there's aliens on ships, but we don't know about that. That's their explanation. What's our explanation? You want to say, well, they just don't happen. They just didn't happen. Those people did not claim to have that experience. Hallucinations, they're not real. Person didn't really have a hallucination. No, they had a hallucination and we're explaining it in that case with the biochemistry and other means. So can you acknowledge there are experiences that people call spiritual, and there is a feeling of significance, for example, that causes someone to call a particular experience spiritual? Where does that come from? Now, I don't think the word significance does it. I don't think there's a feeling just of significance, because things can seem significant and not feel spiritual, right? I think there is a feeling that the brain gets, and the experiences we're having while that feeling is occurring in the brain, in the body, we call them spiritual experiences. Okay, so that's not abstract. There's a great body of these experiences, and they can be investigated. And you're worried that if we investigate them, we'll find out there's ghosts. Well, I'm not worried about that. I'm pretty sure that's not how it's going to turn out. So if there's anything too abstract and too undefined, it's your own cognitive schema. And you would rather take your undefined schema and just go, well, let's just not ask those questions. Well, that's not going to happen. That's with me. That's not what I'm doing. I'm telling you what I'm doing. It's as straightforward as can be. You just have this cognitive schema, this framing in your own mind that spirituality is a topic that cannot be broached. You can't find anything out about what's going on in the human brain when it has these kinds of experiences, which makes it sound woo-woo stuff on your side. It's like it's inexplicable. Like God, I don't think it's inexplicable. I think it's explicable with brain chemistry and human experience. And so does Ellie Dink agree with me, or else he wouldn't have come here and helped me make that video. Okay, I gotta go take a shower before my eyes explode.